Have you ever stopped to question the existence of alpacas? That's right, those adorable, long-necked creatures we've all come to love. With their soft, fluffy wool and those big, innocent eyes, it's hard to imagine a world without them. They're native to South America and known for their high-altitude living conditions. Alpacas are a staple of the Andes Mountains, where they've been a part of the landscape for thousands of years. In recent years, alpaca products have exploded in popularity. From cozy sweaters to luxurious blankets, the soft and hypoallergenic nature of alpaca wool has made it a hit worldwide. But what if I told you that there's a theory floating around that these beloved creatures aren't what they seem? Welcome to the world of conspiracy theories, where nothing is as it appears, not even our fluffy friends the alpacas. It's a place where skeptics and believers alike question the very fabric of our reality. The theory we're discussing today is as strange as they come, suggesting that alpacas might not be real animals at all. Yes, you heard me correctly. The hypothesis suggests that alpacas are not naturally occurring creatures, but rather products manufactured by corporations. It's a claim that, on the surface, may seem ludicrous. After all, we've seen alpacas. We've touched their soft wool, laughed at their funny, toothy grins. But those who subscribe to this theory argue that our interaction with alpacas is all part of a grand illusion, a ruse orchestrated by big corporations for profit. It's a theory that challenges our understanding of nature and commerce, blurring the line between what's real and what's manufactured. It's a theory that questions the authenticity of the world around us and the integrity of the entities that govern it. So, you may ask, what evidence supports this bizarre theory? Buckle up, folks, because we're just getting started on this wild ride into the enigma that is the alpaca conspiracy. To understand this conspiracy, we need to look at the origin of alpacas. Take a trip with me back in time to the Andean highlands of South America. It's here, in this rugged landscape, where the tale of the alpaca begins. According to the history books, these creatures were domesticated by the ancient Incas over 6,000 years ago. They were cherished for their wool, which was so luxurious it was called the fiber of the gods. But here's where things start to get a little fuzzy. You see, despite the Incas' meticulous record-keeping, there's surprisingly little concrete evidence about the alpaca's early years. Their origins are shrouded in mystery, almost as if they appeared out of thin air. Fast forward to the 16th century, when the Spanish conquistadors arrived in South America. They found these peculiar beasts unlike anything they had seen back in Europe. Yet instead of being fascinated by the alpacas, the conquistadors saw them as a threat to their sheep's wool industry and nearly drove them to extinction. Now let's pause for a moment. If these creatures were nearly wiped out, how did they make such a miraculous comeback? And why do we see them now in every corner of the globe, from the highlands of New Zealand to the rolling hills of England? These gaps in the alpaca's history provide fertile ground for conspiracy theories. Could it be that the alpacas we see today are not the descendants of ancient Incan herds, but the products of modern manufacturing? Could it be that these docile, woolly creatures are not what they seem? So we're left with a riddle, wrapped in a mystery, inside an enigma. A creature that was once nearly extinct is now thriving worldwide, with a history that's as soft and elusive as the wool on its back. Interesting, isn't it? But the story gets even stranger. Now let's delve into the heart of the conspiracy, the claim that alpacas are man-made creatures. Can you imagine a world where the fluffy alpacas we've come to adore are nothing more than products of genetic engineering or mass manufacturing? It's a wild theory indeed, but hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to go down the rabbit hole. The crux of this theory revolves around the alpaca wool, or more accurately, its unusual characteristics. Alpaca wool is soft as a cloud, warmer than sheep's wool, hypoallergenic, and water-resistant, qualities that seem almost too good to be natural. Is it possible that such a perfect material is not a gift from Mother Nature, but rather a marvel of modern science? Some theorists argue that the origin of alpaca wool is a clear indicator of genetic manipulation. They believe that somewhere out there, a corporation is tinkering with alpaca DNA to produce this luxurious and profitable wool. After all, it's a gold mine for the textile industry. Why wouldn't they want to have the monopoly on it? But It's not just the wool that raises eyebrows. The alpaca's calm demeanor, their ability to adapt to different climates, and their propensity to herd together, these traits make them ideal for mass production and management. Could it be that these characteristics are not natural but rather engineered to make the alpaca a perfect commodity? And then there's the question of their sudden popularity. Alpacas have been domesticated for thousands of years in South America, but in the last few decades, they've become a global sensation. Is it merely a trend, or is there something more sinister behind their worldwide fame? Of course, these are just theories, conjectures based on observations and suspicions, but they do make us wonder about the world we live in, don't they? And they raise a crucial question. If alpacas are indeed man-made, then who could be pulling the strings? But who could be behind such a vast global operation? Scene script. Who stands to gain the most from a creature that produces such valuable wool? Let's ponder on that for a moment. As we delve deeper into the alpaca enigma, it's impossible to overlook the major beneficiaries of this narrative, the textile corporations. You see, alpaca wool is not just any ordinary wool. It's superior in many ways. It's warmer than sheep's wool, hypoallergenic, and lightweight. Its prized qualities make it one of the most coveted materials in the fashion industry. So, let's connect the dots. We have a creature, the alpaca, which allegedly produces this high-quality wool, and then we have these textile corporations that are making a fortune out of selling alpaca wool products. Is it too far-fetched to consider that these corporations could be behind the creation of alpacas? Think about it. By controlling the source of the wool, these corporations can control the market. They can dictate the prices, manipulate the supply, and essentially monopolize the industry. It's a brilliant business strategy if you think about it. And it doesn't stop there. By promoting the narrative that alpacas are endangered or need to be protected, these corporations can justify the high prices for their products. They can appeal to the consumer's sympathy and willingness to preserve these animals. But of course, we need to ask ourselves, are these corporations capable of such a conspiracy? Well, history has shown us time and again how corporations can go to great lengths for profit. This theory doesn't claim to have concrete evidence. Its purpose is not to accuse, but to provoke thought. After all, isn't it intriguing to consider that the cute, fluffy alpacas we adore might just be a part of a larger corporate scheme? It's a wild theory, but it does make you think, doesn't it? So, are alpacas real, or are they a product of corporate greed? As we've journeyed through the alpaca enigma, we've uncovered some fascinating theories and curious contradictions. We've dug into the origin story of these fluffy creatures, delved into the claim that they are manufactured, and explored the possibility of a corporate conspiracy. Now, it's time for the verdict. Let's start with the origin story. The historical records clearly indicate the presence of alpacas for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Yet some theorists argue that these records could be part of an elaborate hoax. But why would anyone go to such lengths to fabricate a history for a creature that seemingly serves no strategic purpose? Then there's the manufacturing claim. It's a compelling idea. But the technology required to create such lifelike creatures would be beyond anything we currently possess. Could a secret organization have developed such advanced tech? Possibly. But again, why alpacas? The corporate conspiracy theory is perhaps the most intriguing. It suggests that corporations have been creating alpacas to distract us from other more sinister activities. But if this is true, why have there been no whistleblowers? No leaked documents or undercover exposés? The lack of conclusive evidence makes each of these theories difficult to substantiate. And yet the existence of such theories suggests that there are still questions to be answered, mysteries to be solved. So, are alpacas real? Well, the jury's still out on that one. But it's important to remember that the world is a complex and often confusing place. It's filled with uncertainties and unknowns. And sometimes the search for truth can lead us down some pretty strange paths. In the end, the truth about alpacas remains a mystery. But one thing is for sure, they've certainly given us something to think about.